Toby Kebbell, who was up for a BAFTA Rising Star Award some time ago, stars in The Veteran, which is a low-budget British movie about a returning British soldier who comes back to his estate where there's no call for his trade, except the local gang lord drug dealer wants to take him on. So he's then approached by a couple of shady intel operatives, one of whom is played by Brian Cox, and nobody does shady intel like Brian Cox.
Is that Brian Cox, the astronomer?
No.
Professor Brian Cox?
No, the proper Brian Cox.
Wonders of the universe.
Not the one who says in everything that he picks up, this is the most incredible thing in the world. But this here is the most, and I'm holding this thing here that I'm walking up this mountain. This thing is the most incredible. But now this here is the infinitesimally incredible thing of this.
On Question Time, a few weeks ago, they had actor Brian Cox on there.
Professor
No.
Sure
But I'm absolutely sure they
thought they got the other one.
They thought that they had booked Professor Brian Cox. They got actor Brian Cox, who of course is very good, but not the one
that one. Okay, fine. Anyway, so he's this shady operative. Essentially, they say,
minutes now.
Okay, we want you to work for us. We want you to trace somebody who we think has become too involved with a terrorist cell. We don't know whether they work. Who are they working for? Who are you working for? Who are we working for? And everything sort of spirals in and around itself. Every now and then, people stop to discuss the art of war and to hold forth about the post 9/11 world. And those bits, I have to say, are done rather clunkily. It's a kind of mishmash of ideas. I mean, you can see that the influences of Bresson, of Schrader's script writing. I mean, there's a lot of Taxi Driver hanging around in the background. There's a sort of Heat-style finale done in a much more, sort of lower, stripped-down, British homemade movie kind of way. There are some very interesting ideas in it. There are also some places in which it just, it oversteps its own mark and it falls apart. But it's held together by Toby Kebbell, who I think is a very, very strong performer. And an awful lot of the film is on his face, him being non-verbal, him communicating through his physicality, which he does really well. I think it would be a very different film if it weren't for him, but the work that he does with the director works very well. And although there are great flaws in the film, I think it does have clunkinesses, it does have problems. I think it's far from perfect, and I think it does fall apart very badly. It is held together when it works by him and by his work with the director, and for that it should be praised. And it has high ambitions. I don't think it strikes all of them by quite some distance, but it does aim higher than you might expect.